No Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going in Raw News Beef.
Beef.
This is going to be beefy today, man.
You got that right.
Figured we'd go live on this one because a lot of people are excited. CM Punk made his grand return to WWE backstage last night, Larson.
Yeah, look in my eyes. What do you see, Steve? CM Punk on Fox Sports 1 backstage WWE.
That's good.
Change things up a little bit there.
Yeah, that was really good. So
It's
anyways,
stretch, though, I know.
What's in the news?
Well, after weeks of reports and rumors, even confirmation from Phil himself that he tried out for the show, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
About whether he'd be a part of WWE Backstage. The best in the world, CM Punk, showed at the conclusion of last night's episode saying he gets right close to the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it, but I'm sitting down. And said, it's as simple as this. Just when you think they've got the answers, I changed the culture. And then he said, I'll see you here next week.
Yeah. Ooh.
Everybody's hype, excited. Wrestling world. Wow.
Oh, man, yeah.
Through the roof with excitement.
It all blew up, man.
It
was
did.
Crazy.
Rollins calling him out. Ricochet. Bunch of other wrestlers.
Well, yeah, some of these tweets here, I have some of these pulled up here. Rollins, of course, just says, fight me, CM Punk. Ricochet says, I got next. After that, Drew Gulak says, I'm looking forward to hearing CM Punk discuss my insightful analytical ability and uncanny in-ring prowess in future installments of WWE Backstage. That's all I can see right here. Yeah. So I'm sure other people have tweeted about it.
I'm sure a lot of people, as the news kind of works its way through the wrestling world this morning. I'm sure we'll hear more people talking about it. This is what WWE had to say. Quote, after nearly 6-year absence from WWE TV, CM Punk made a shocking unannounced appearance on Tuesday night's episode of WWE Backstage, FS1's new weekly studio show. The two-time WWE champion arrived during the show's final moments, entering to the sounds of Living Colour's Cult of Personality, Punk's entrance music during his storied in-ring career. Within minutes, the WWE on Fox Twitter account confirmed that Punk will make periodic appearances on WWE Backstage beginning next Tuesday.
Yeah, periodic.
He's a special contributor.
Here's the thing: if you're going to start training to be in the ring again,
God.
you can do periodic appearances on a weekly show. The rest of the time, he's going to be training to be for his in-ring return, which is totally going to happen. Totally going to happen.
You insist. We don't know what's in the mind of Phil Brooks.
Nobody knows what's in anybody's mind because telepathy is not a real thing, much to my chagrin.
Au contraire, I'm sure there's some people that would argue that point. A lot about this world we don't know. There's a great amount of mystery that exists.
I did not know that you were a believer. Interesting.
Oh, I'm not saying I am. I'm saying we just don't know, Steve.
Anyways.
There's questions to be asked.
Well, as far as I know, nobody's in the mind of Phil Brooks, or at least nobody in the dirt sheet world is.
Yes.
So you're absolutely right about that. However, it's funny because this is greasing the wheels for a return.
No, what this is, and I told you this. You text me the picture because I was watching Power when this apparently happened. You text me the picture after I made a joke about that being a really well done Photoshop on your part. Mm-hmm. I said this, and we'll get to the more backstage details potentially.
Yeah.
What this is, whether Punk was going to be a part of the show or not, either way, once they saw the ratings for that first week, whatever negotiations were being done to maybe bring him on were expedited.
Yeah.
And if there's an issue with money, Fox Sports, I imagine, said, all right, we'll agree to those terms.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first week's ratings were abysmal.
Yeah.
They want people to watch the show. What better way to do that than to have CM Punk be involved?
Yeah, I thought I saw something. So you have here in the notes, we have PW Insider has some details here. PWInsider.com has confirmed that Punk signed a deal with Fox, but has not signed anything with WWE as of this writing. The decision to bring Punk on was 100% a Fox call, but we are told that WWE gave the return their personal blessing. That'd be Vince. The two sides had circled on a deal, but it was finally completed within the last few days. CM Punk's return on WWE Backstage tonight was kept a secret from everyone on camera, with the exception of Renee Young, as a way to prevent the return from leaking. So Samoa Joe's seeming mild amusement at Punk returning, an old friend of it. Who knows if those bridges had been burned?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like Punk stopped talking to a lot of people once he left wrestling years ago.
But he seemed pretty amused. Adam Cole busted out in some air guitar once he heard
air guitar.
Cult of Personality. Yeah, which, by the way, can't be too cheap to get the rights to.
I wouldn't think so.
But you never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, this could be. It's like maybe it's a chicken egg thing. I don't know, man. I don't know if the ratings were if the ratings spurred them to expedite, as you say, these negotiations, or if this was sort of always in the works, and they're just, hey, we know it's a process.
Yeah, well, here, Fightful Select, by the way, go subscribe to Fightful Select.
Mm-hmm.
They do great work.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You get notifications, emails on your phone when they got awesome breaking news. Absolute best. They add, quote, as recently as last month, Fox was out on CM Punk for the time being, despite him having an impressive showing at the tryout, at least according to sources within the network. One person from Fox has told us it was in the cards all along, but they had to hammer out details before it happened. So maybe it's a situation where they liked him, they wanted to bring him in at some point, but it came to a negotiation for the actual deal, a couple sticking points. That has been worked out for whatever the reason. Ratings,
terrible ratings, definitely gave him some leverage maybe at the last minute. If those ratings came out, and he was, his agent was probably like, hey, you want to, because it has 1.6 million views on YouTube right now on WWE on Fox's YouTube channel. It is absent from WWE's actual YouTube channel.
That might be a contractual thing.
Probably, I would think that WWE on Fox owns that stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I don't know. It's the same way that we've seen. I would think that WWE, number one, it is just given how Punk in the past, a couple of years ago, had made claims, had alleged that Vince was personally bankrolling the lawsuit against him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of surprising that he would be involved in the WWE in any way, shape, or form.
I know, but he seems
given what happened back then.
Yeah, but now the lawsuit's over with. He said several times, or he's implied that he's softened on all that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like now, I think that's got to be quite a burden to carry, that kind of resentment, bitterness against a company or whatever for firing you on your wedding day.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you got to let that go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to start eating you up.
Yeah, sure.
He's ran as far away as he could from the pro wrestling world for the longest time, save for a few appearances, dropping pretty ugly-looking GTSs while wearing a mask.
Would you stop harping on the one GTS?
It's not a good GTS.
Oh, my goodness.
Nonetheless, pro wrestling was such a huge part of his life for such a long time. I'm not saying he's going to get back in the ring for him, but for him to not pursue employment opportunities based around the world of pro wrestling, it would seem like a missed opportunity for him at this point in his career and his life. He's 40 years old roughly. He hasn't been in the wrestling ring for 6 years. His time as a top flight wrestler is probably gone. Let's say he couldn't still draw money, but his time as, self-proclaimed or otherwise best in the world in terms of in-ring performer, that's gone.
Maybe.
He was never the most athletic dude to begin with.
And he was really good not being the most athletic dude to begin with.
But to have such an extended layoff and assume that you could just hop right back on that bike and be able to tell really good stories in the ring, it's not a given that would necessarally happen.
Let's see. I was looking up. Okay, so HBK is 54 now. He returned in 2003. Oh wow, God. He was young when he returned. He was born in 65. He came back in 2000. Okay, so he was 38. He was hovering around.
Yeah.
In 2003, 65, it would have been...
He was...
65, and then come back in 2003. By 2005, he'd be 40, 38. So he was... HBK was 38 when he came back.
Okay.
And he had a 5-year run as one of the best wrestlers on the planet. I don't know. I think it's entirely possible for CM Punk to come back and pick up where he left off in terms of his in-ring storytelling ability.
Yeah, it remains to be seen.
And on top of that, it's like having been away from the canvas for so long.
I don't think it's a given that he can, though.
Well, nobody knows, man. I don't know. But in any event, he's given his price for what he wants to come back, and that's $20 million.
Yeah.
However, if you extrapolate, here's the thing. That's not even ridiculous if you extrapolate that over a 5-year contract, which is what WWE offers these days.
Yeah.
It's not out of the realm of possibility to say, hey, listen, I want to be set for life. I'm willing to donate or to give up the next 5 years of my life to work for the company, make $20 million, bank $20 million.
Well, wrestling 10 matches a year.
Exactly, on his own terms, or even like an Orton schedule where he's on TV and not much TV and paper, not much else. That's entirely part of the.
Oh, it's entirely possible.
You think he ain't gonna draw on Monday Night Raw or probably SmackDown? Of
course he would.
And here's the thing: it might not be entirely. I mean, at the end of the day, the last word is Vince McMahon, of course. But do you think if WWE, if Fox looks at these SmackDown ratings, if they continue to be middling, and they're not going to say, hey, look, this dude just got 2 million views on our crap YouTube channel, put the money up and bring him to SmackDown, and we want to see those ratings. Those ratings will go up.
Who knows?
They will.
Oh, yeah, they will. They will. Who knows if that's what they want?
You don't think they want the ratings to go up?
No, if they want to bring Punk back. For his price tag, who knows?
I don't know. If Fox says, hey, if these ratings continue to go the way they're going, you're done here. Or bring back this dude who we know will give you at least a short-term pop, like a lengthy short-term pop. I'm not talking about like 5 years, but like over the next year or so, then do it if you want this deal to stay in place. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
We also just heard that Vince likes this Rusev and Lana storyline. Either it makes him laugh because the fans don't like it, or it just makes him laugh.
Yeah, he also likes his stock price to be high, so I would think that would probably be
who knows,
more of a priority.
People are giving me ecstatic about saying that he could come back in top form. Athletically, I don't think he necessarily could, but storytelling-wise, yeah, maybe he could.
I just think that there's precedence for it.
There's one. There's HBK,
yeah.
and he's top shelf, top 1% wrestler in terms of skill level and storytelling ability to begin with.
I think if CM Punk was born like 5 years later, 10 years later, he'd be a top flight takeover guy. And I know takeover matches are generally pretty physically grueling, and in that case you might have a point, but storytelling wise, there wasn't anybody better than CM Punk at his best.
No, he's a really good storyteller.
That's
and
the
that
thing.
could be, and like I said,
that's the thing that ages really well.
I'm walking that back a bit because, yes, that's correct. That would probably age better than the athletic aspect. Again, he was never the most athletic wrestler, and as you get older, that's what goes first: his quickness, foot speed, athletic ability. But if he can make up for that with in-ring storytelling, and that's what he wants to do, and he's motivated and inspired, then sure, why not?
Yeah, no, I think it'd be great. I'd love to see it, man. I got goosebumps when I heard that Living Color song. I put that on my playlist a couple weeks ago. Maybe that was
a good song.
Maybe it was just all the supernatural coincidence.
No, let's talk about Mr. Takeover, Johnny Takeover himself, Johnny Gargano. Apparently, he's going to miss a takeover, that being War Games. First reported last night by Ryan Satin on WWE Backstage.
What is it called? The satin
sheet.
The satin sheet. That's what it is.
Yeah. Gargano is out for War Games. Here's what WB had to say about it. Quote, Johnny Gargano will not be medically cleared to compete at NXT TakeOver War Games as a result of a neck injury suffered.
Oh, that's another great example. Friggin' Ric Flair.
Oh, Ric Flair just wrestled forever, though.
Yeah, but look at his last WWE match.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, like, his last run was really, really good.
But he was never really
like
stopped.
A million years old.
He never really stopped wrestling.
I don't really think it matters, though. Like, I'm not a wrestler, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just guessing. Like, a lot of, like, if most, I don't know, like, if you take an actor out of, this is like, in terms of performance and storytelling, if you take an actor out of the profession for 5 years, it's not a guarantee they're going to be able to step back in and be as good as they were.
Daniel Day-Lewis, man, that dude takes long breaks.
Yeah, he's an outlier, though.
Ah, man.
I just don't know. I'm not saying it's.
No,
I'm not.
That it's,
I walked that back already. I said
okay.
that the storytelling aspect is probably the most likely aspect that he'd be able to retain, taking such a prolonged break, but it's not necessarily a given. I'm not going to assume that he's going to step back in and putting on 4.5 5-star matches from a storytelling perspective. He's been out of it for so long.
6-star classics.
Just don't assume that's going to be the case.
I will.
Although Gargano was not officially scheduled for TakeOver War Games, Satin speculated that Johnny Wrestling was destined to face Balor. I mean, you can assume that was going to be the case.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Network special takes place Saturday, November 23rd. Bummer, because that would have been a great match. What?
Sorry, nothing. Chat cracks me up. Because Joe Juarez says, isn't Satin considered an unreliable source? Well, he's there at Backstage. He's on the set.
He's getting his inside information from WWE.
Yeah. But then Tommy Traska, and I totally understand your point, and I'm moving on. But he says Larson's favorite wrestler is Suzuki. He's like super old.
I'm not saying.
I know. It's funny. It's funny.
That's the old, like, age isn't the point in terms of storytelling ability. It's
being
my point.
Away
it's
from
the layoff.
Yeah.
Age affects your like Minoru Suzuki's not as crisp and as athletic as he was in his pancreas days. Let's watch the video.
Yeah.
But he's still really good in the ring because he still knows how to tell a story and still knows how to highlight his strength. Age isn't necessarily the question.
Yeah.
Age isn't the issue. It's being gone for 6 years.
I know. I feel
that's
like,
the point.
You got your point. You're good. So yeah, Gargano out with a neck injury. So wait a second. this neck injury.
Yeah.
That wasn't caused by the 1916. Was
no,
it?
I think they did that to take him out of TakeOver because he had a pre-existing.
That always bugs me about wrestling, though. That's the one thing that kind of bugs me about wrestling. Somebody's got a bad neck, then they kayfabe the bad neck injury after they already have a bad neck. That 1916 was so gnarly. Mm-hmm. That dude's head hit that grate. I'm telling you. Oh, it looked ugly.
I'd be interested to see how, prior to that, how many matches Gargano had like the previous, 2 months. I don't even remember him being on NXT TV having matches a whole lot since the last TakeOver.
I feel like there's been more instances of him coming out and like hearing a crowd chant his name and him talking some.
I don't really feel like he's had a whole lot of matches.
As opposed to matches.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done a lot of preening.
So maybe this is one of those things like we saw with Adam Cole when he broke his wrist. He wasn't doing house shows.
Yeah.
He wasn't really. Now he's he seemingly wrestled like 25 matches with a broken wrist. But, but like Ciampa, I guess when his neck got really bad, he had to step back a little bit. But we haven't heard anything official from a shoot sense, nature of the injury, treatment required if it needs surgery, anything like that.
Tonight's going to be very interesting setting up War Games because the whole idea of like you got War Games, but then that's sort of taking a back seat a little bit to the invasion stuff.
Yeah.
So to see how all that's going to play out.
I still don't know how they're going to have that all play out. Like, what is Adam Cole going to do at Survivor Series? Is he going to be captain of Team NXT?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it would have to be him, Ciampa, Riddle, Keith Lee.
Yeah, because everybody else in Undisputed Era is in a match.
And Dijakovic. Probably.
Then he's going to get along with... Like, that's a team that's going to implode.
Exactly.
I feel like the only team... I mean, that sort of adds some intrigue to it. You've got, like, one guy, like, Orton's on Team Raw. He's going to,
Every team's got to have a wild card.
Corbin's on Team SmackDown. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you didn't watch... If the only thing you watched on Backstage last night was CM Punk returning, they also announced... You mentioned this.
Oh, yeah, Team SmackDown.
Team SmackDown.
So it's Roman, Corbin, Mustafa Ali. Thankfully, he's got his first name back.
Shorty G.
Chad Gable. I can't remember the fifth member.
I'll look it up real quick.
In my old age, my memory is failing me. My apologies.
Nah, you're doing great, dude. You're doing great. Let's see here. Oh, Nikki Cross. No, I just saw her picture. I don't want to take a survey. Actually, I do want to take a survey. Hopefully it says, how bad do you want CM Punk to come back? And I'll say, all the bad.
All the bad.
So bad. All right. It's probably in news.
Here it is. I got it.
Arn Anderson.
Yeah, Arn Anderson.
Fifth member.
Braun Strowman.
Oh, okay.
So you got Reigns and Corbin who are feuding. So that's the dynamic that's could potentially implode that team. Mm-hmm. On Raw, you got Orton and Rick. Well, just Orton.
Yeah, Orton.
Specifically, though, Orton and Ricochet.
Oh, and Drew's there, too. Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, Drew's there.
That dude is not going to participate.
And so you'll have Cole, Ciampa, Riddle, Keith Lee, and I'd assume Dijakovic. Those are the guys who've kind of been more front and center.
Yeah, right.
In terms of, especially those four names. Cole, Riddle, Ciampa, and Keith Lee. Those have kind of been the four guys front and center of the whole NXT invasion type stuff. It's
kind of weak, though, the NXT champion not having a spot. Like, even freaking Roderick Strong has, like, a triple threat with the other champions. And granted, Brock is taking on Ray. Is there any chance, let me ask this, is there any chance The Fiend attacks tonight?
I don't know.
And what does Balor do?
Tonight at NXT?
In NXT, yeah.
Probably not.
Balor's not going to be involved in this team NXT
that's weird,
thing?
Too. I don't know. There's a lot they got to work out.
There's a lot
for
they
it to make
work
sense
out.
to me.
Are they still writing that show right now? Is Triple H like,
no, I feel like that's more or less.
I did not see any of this coming. This is a pain in the Shad.
No, I
Shad, we gotta.
I don't think
Shad, you want to be on Team NXT? Of course I do, Hunter.
I don't think so.
15-man tag. I can handle that.
No, there you go.
I mean, there's like a ton of people in it.
I know.
It's like half a Rumble's worth of people.
I know.
In this tag match.
I know.
Shawn Michaels could easily do that.
Yep.
You think people wouldn't mark out? People would mark out.
Oh, heck yeah, they would.
You kidding me?
Well, I guess that's the upside of having Cole, at least one member of the Undisputed Era, and several other members of it. Most people involved in the men's War Game match is having the Survivor Series elimination style match after getting beat up at War Games.
No, I know.
At least they can.
That's a good. No,
take it easy.
That's a good point.
In a 15.
Roderick Strong is going to be. I think Roderick. If Cole lands this Team NXT match, then Roderick Strong is probably going to be the one guy who's like, man, what? because he's got War Games, and then the King of Strong Style and AJ Styles, and you know they're going to want to kill it.
Keep an eye out for this at War Games. Roderick Strong takes maybe a rough bump to begin, naps for 2/3 of the match.
For one thing, he's going to be the last guy to come out.
Yes.
And then on top of that, you're right. He comes out, immediately takes a rough bump.
Yep.
Snooze.
Huddles up in the corner and snoozes.
Yeah. But nobody can really take, like, you got the tag team guys, the Redragon.
Yeah.
They're going to have they're taking on the New Day and the Viking Experience, whatever they're called. Like, I mean, that's easier than, but dude, you got Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. You don't want to take that off.
I know.
That match should be at War Games. Who wouldn't want to see that as a takeover match?
I know.
Takeover level triple threat.
I know.
Man, wow.
I know. Anyway, Steve, I'm happy you mentioned takeover, Steve. We got some business we need to take care of, please.
Oh, sounds good. All right. Anyways, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, Manscaped. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your lover has gone down to your front area, right here between your legs, sort of under your stomach, and then claimed an injury to avoid dealing with the overgrown thicket of messy bush lurking in your man zone?
Well,
my neck hurts. I can't go down there.
My neck hurts. Well, we're here to tell you that you have the power to take over and tame the forest growing down your nether regions thanks to Manscaped. I, like most guys, been the victim of harsh trimmers that have played their own war games down there.
War games.
And taken away bits of ball skin when trying to groom the family jewels. Thankfully, we're here to tell you that Manscaped has completely changed the game, and that's undisputed.
That's right, friendo. That is undisputed. Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer with their Lawnmower 2.0. It's got proprietary technology that keeps your gimmick safe from cuts and snags.
But that's not all. Why just keep your hog pen free from slop when you can make it smell good too? Manscaped has an anti-chafing deodorant and moisturizer called Crop Preserver that keeps your nether region smelling fresh.
Yeah, right now, friendos can get 20% off and free shipping and a free travel bag by going to manscaped.com and using promo code GIR. Use the right tools to keep your ball skin safe, people. Trust me, your balls will thank you.
As will your lover when he or she goes down to your undercarriage and sees that your grooming skills have been called up to the main roster.
How did you give yourself all the good lines? Oh, that's so annoying.
Because I write this copy. Again, get 20% off, free shipping, and a free travel bag by going to manscaped.com and using promo code GIR.
Mm-hmm. Be sure to feast your eyes on good-looking Manzone.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring today's show. And you're really helping out Going In Raw and your ball skin by going to manscaped.com and using promo code GIR.
Your grooming skills will be limitless. Thanks to Manscaped.
That one too. Anyways, this is some weird conspiracy theory type story stuff going on
so
here.
Let's go back to the end of last week. Meltzer, in the latest newsletter, had some stuff in there about Kenny having some issues getting in Japan prior to the DDT Pro show he did recently, a couple weeks back, I think. And this is the third time this happened where he's trying to enter Japan and having issues getting in.
He's pulling a Paul McCartney, man, trying to bring a brick of marijuana into the country. He can't do that.
That's a huge deal.
That's a big deal.
I don't think Kenny drinks. And this third time since this year since he left New Japan, and he stated in the newsletter that, quote, there was an attempt to get him banned from going to Japan for 10 years. Kenny maybe kind of commented on that story on Twitter saying, quote, one day I'm going to have a lot of wild stories to tell about my 2019 that a lot of people won't want to believe, but the truth is actually way worse than what's been rumored and or reported. Well,
so New Japan's Harold Mage, the president, yeah, he had a statement about this. He says, by the way, a few days ago there were some unbelievable rumors that New Japan Pro Wrestling tried to prevent Kenny Omega from entering Japan, but there was no reason why a company could not do that.
There is no cannot.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
But there was.
Anyway, he said, I don't want to do that. I thought it would be through because this is a weird statement.
I think it's probably all straight from Google Translate.
Yeah.
This is all to the Japanese language version of
Okay. He said it was rumors spread from somebody's speculation, but I mentioned that it was important to tell the fact by denying it once. Kenny Omega has made a great contribution to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I wish him success.
I just don't know how, for example, Harold Mage could go to, the equivalent of the State Department in Japan say,
That's weird.
I want this professional wrestler banned from entering the country. I just don't think that's possible.
So fair enough. But when Kenny says,
oh, here's another translation from Super J Cast on Twitter. By the way, there's this unbelievable rumor going around that New Japan Pro Wrestling tried to prevent Kenny Omega from entering Japan. There's no way a company could do that. No reason to do that, or even would want to.
Okay, so
or you want to do that. Sorry.
Kenny says the truth is actually way worse than what's been rumored and or reported. What's been rumored is that New Japan has tried to stop him from getting to Japan. What would be way worse than that? Is there just like, I don't know, some sort of independent agent working against him that has nothing to do with New Japan?
I don't know. There's some
worse?
huge wrestling fan that works again in the State Department equivalent, Japan, who's so upset that Kenny left that he's taken it. He's taken the power to himself to try to deny Kenny entry into the country.
Seems like it would be way worse than like a company, or
because then like you don't like there's this guy who's running amok.
Yeah, right.
In this department that's keeping Kenny from the country.
Like super powerful State Department guy.
Yeah,
you know,
or even some lowly bureaucrat who is just really good at keeping his tracks hidden. I don't know, like the guy that literally just goes through and stamps visas. He sees, Kenny's shoot name on the thing. He's like,
What is Kenny's shoot name?
I think it's Tyson Smith.
That's so weird.
I think that's his shoot name.
That sounds like it's probably right. Yeah, that's really bizarre.
I just don't know how. I don't. Here in the States, I don't think it's necessarily possible.
You're right, Tyson Smith. Very good.
For a private business,
so
to go to the government and say,
like,
ban this person.
The WWE has. I mean, obviously, Linda McMahon works for Trump. She could probably actually do that.
Maybe
like,
that's a gross abuse of power, though.
Oh yeah, but come on, that's everywhere in that administration. Yeah, I mean, it would be. I mean, could New Japan? I mean, if they have the right connections, possibly. But that'd be odd. That'd be weird. Although with people asking Nick Jackson or one of them Jacksons, hey, are you guys ever going to work with New Japan? And he was like, no. I don't know. Maybe that's like another. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe they're.
I'd be surprised if there's some issues between the Elite and New Japan based on them leaving, how they left, announcing their departure before Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand the Young Bucks and Cody talked about how they didn't feel necessarily appreciated financially by New Japan. So I understand. But to go to this, like, this seems to be way beyond just money.
Yeah.
And people being upset. There's something else, if there's something else.
Patrick Sparks says the Yakuza. I mean, look, man, they're rumored to be the people behind the death of Ricky Dozan. So I don't know. That's possible. That was 50 years ago, but I don't know. Anything's possible, I guess. Are the Yakuza still a big thing in Japan?
I have no idea.
Is their underground crime gang of choice?
I have no idea.
Me neither. I know it's still a popular video game franchise.
That it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird stuff. Wild
weird
stuff.
stuff.
I don't know, man. If I was Kenny, I'd be like, if I got some nefarious characters working against me to get into the country, they might do something to me while I'm in the country. So maybe I'm just going to stay out of here. But he wants to work DDT Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he's down to keep working for New Japan.
Yeah, man.
It's in his contract. He can do that.
Anyways, maybe it's the Inner Circle.
Maybe.
Yeah. Jericho wants that New Japan spot. Maybe the Inner Circle's working with Mox. 2 anti-Omega agents.
There you go.
Working against him to work in Japan.
I mean, that's a fun storyline for the TV show, but nah.
Maybe it's the question mark, Larson.
There we go.
And we might have found more clues.
Oh, we know exactly who the question mark
as
is.
to whom the question mark is this week. Very exciting. We're going to do our NWA Power Review right now. Episode 6.
More questions than answers, I believe it was called.
You know what I loved about last night? We'll just start off at the end. It ended with NWA's version of a huge brawl, which was simply
people milling about.
A disagreement while Dawkins played.
There's no way to have an all-out brawl in that venue. I can't remember what I was reading last night. I think it was in the mod chat or maybe somewhere else. Someone talking about how they like NWA Power because it's not a whole. It was Edge's tweet that played at the beginning of the show. So there's none of that. There's no dives. It's like a throwback to 80s TV. I was like, Well, you can't do a suicide dive there. You take out the first 5 rows.
You take out David Marquez's area.
You can't do it. There's not room to do it. People walk around one of the ring posts and they have to like squeeze by between crowd and camera and post. There's no way that you do a suicide dive.
Right. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't have a big brawl to end it. It's just a bunch of people kind of half-heartedly yelling at each other.
Unless you take it to the parking lot.
Yeah, which they probably, I hope they will at some point.
Or backstage or something.
But last night, another wildly entertaining episode. I thought it was absolutely terrific, man. It started off with a recap of last week's the tag title match in the Rock and Roll Express getting involved.
Showing up and getting involved. Yeah.
They're everywhere these days, man.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
They are.
They're the true wild cards.
They really are.
Because they go from promotion to promotion, not the wild cards in this episode.
They are beholden to no company or man.
Yeah.
So they come out.
Into the fire.
I'll have to listen to more Dawkins.
I know, right? It's so good.
It's a good song.
And they have the intro in there and everything. Everybody looking serious and milling about.
So the show kicks off with the Rock and Roll Express interview. They're there. That's about it.
Yeah.
And Robert Gibson said it's a real honor. NWA #1.
Yeah, he did. While looking at 5 different people at the same time.
All right. Kingston.
That shot of them in the intro just kills me every time.
I know.
Oh, man.
I know. Eddie Kingston and Homicide walk up, and Kingston is like, it's an honor to get help from who we call the greatest tag team ever.
Is Kingston too old to go to NXT at this point? He's great.
He's a good
not.
I'd say he might be too old to go as a wrestler.
You know what he needs to do?
But as like a talker, a manager, no. He can still go.
His faction versus Malcolm Bivens' faction. That's what I want to see.
That'd be great.
Eddie Kingston's the best.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Oh, he's such a good talker.
He's such a good talker. Well, that's what I mean. He's such a good talker.
He was, like at StarCast when we were sitting near him, he was just a delight to be around. He's funny.
He was hilarious.
He's hilarious.
He's like class clown.
Yeah.
He brought such a high school vibe to the proceedings because he would just troll.
But in a positive way.
Yeah. He would just troll all of his friends.
It really felt like when you were there, maybe, I don't know, in subsequent years have been the same. It didn't feel like that when we were in Vegas. Or it did to a lesser degree. But we were also sitting around a lot more of the wrestlers, the legends instead of current roster or current wrestlers. But that first year, when the best friends were there, Chelsea Green, like Britt Baker stopped by. You had Rosemary and Ali across the way.
Yeah.
Eddie Kingston was there when ACH was there. They were all just talking to each other and cracking wise and making each other laugh, and it was fun to listen to.
Yeah, it was really funny. And, it was great to be a fly on the wall like that.
Yeah. You can tell they all know each other. They all know each other.
Oh, yeah. So... So anyways, and then Kingston and Homicide come up, and they're like, very happy to have gotten the rub, basically, from the Rock and Roll Express. He's like, it's a big honor. It's an honor to have these guys, tell us this stuff. And he's so great with the crowd, too. Like, it's like he's talking to a person, but he's talking to however many people are there. Apparently, all their like the latest round of tapings have all sold out too. I don't know about the pay-per-view, but I know the
pay-per-view they say on the ad for it is sold out.
Oh, that's awesome. So after that, we had a 4-minute match. Trevor Murdoch versus Caleb Conley, and then Trevor Murdoch picked up the win after a top rope bulldog. I love Trevor Murdoch, man.
He's a throwback.
He is definitely. He's more of a throwback than the episode than the show itself.
Yeah, man. He looks like he was transported via time machine from
legitimately
1982 to
legitimately.
Today. Yeah. Next, fantastic Aaron Stevens interview. He comes out and he's got his pirate shirt on.
I don't know if anybody's having more fun than Damian Sandow.
I know, but he's got his nude-colored trunks. Just kind of, you can see him a little bit.
Right.
So it looks like he's walking around with no pants on.
Yeah. Except there's like, he's got on his pirate shirt, so there's like a little split there in the
where his
bottom.
Front area
so
pops through.
His junk. Which I'm sure is Manscaped because he's a big Hollywood actor, is sort of popping through.
I know.
And you can tell he thinks it's endlessly amusing.
I know. He's trying to laugh this whole time.
Right, he is. The entire time he's trying not to laugh.
So he walks out and says, all right, I'm done. I'm done with NWA. I'm done with wrestling. I'm out of here. I'm going back to Hollywood. He pulls out he's got his iPhone out and says, I'm one click away from accepting the role in Shogun of Malibu. And he goes, I'm out of here. I'm going to go backstage and put my pants back on. And I'm gone.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
This was hilarious. He's so great. After that, we had a couple of local jobbers, Crystal Rose and Brooklyn Creed, versus Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell.
Thunder Rosa is great.
She's fantastic, man. She's great. She's really good, and I can't wait. They had like a little bit later a little package for apparently some sort of upcoming documentary
about her MMA debut, right?
About her MMA debut, yeah.
That's
which
cool.
Apparently she put up a good fight, but she lost.
But she lost by decision. She didn't get knocked down or anything.
Right? Yeah. And it was her MMA debut for, I think it was Combates Americas.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa picked up the win, pitting Brooklyn Creed after a vicious top rope double stomp to Brooklyn Creed's back. That was nasty.
Yeah.
And afterwards, Thunder Rosa and Marty Bell did an interview. Marty Bell more or less said, I don't know much about Thunder Rosa's past, but I can tell that Thunder Rosa is my future. And then Thunder Rosa speaks in Spanish. Marty translates.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
There's a little bit in there that Thunder Rosa spoke in English.
She called David Marquez gordito. That means fat guy or pig. She said David Gordito Marquez.
Yeah. And then at the end of which, Thunder Rosa says Allison Kay has no idea what's coming to her.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
That's going to be good stuff.
We have another vignette for the question mark, perhaps the final one.
Yeah.
Considering he made his debut. We had a James Storm interview backstage where it seemed like he had to hit the reset button on what he was trying to say a couple times.
Yeah, he was.
But it worked because he was upset.
He was really upset. He was really fiery. What do you think? Let me ask you something. Of everything that happens in Power, I think they do this sort of backstage interview every couple episodes where there's more depth of field.
Yeah, I like it.
I think it kind of throws me out of it a little bit.
Because it doesn't fit into the general overall aesthetic of the rest of the show, I understand.
Yeah. I think if it was done, and look, this might be too much of a trope, too much of a convention, in front of, and maybe there are no lockers there, but more in like a dressing room or a locker situation. Again, which would be another throwback.
What they just need, though, is to not shoot it with a DSLR, is to shoot it with a camera from 1982.
Well, no, even a camera that they have like at ringside.
You've seen those things? They're humongous.
Well, I just mean, okay, then just lower the depth of field, like put a different lens on there so that it's not so, because it looks like NXT UK at that point.
Yeah, no. I mean, in a vacuum, I like it, but I understand it doesn't fit into the overall segment unless if it's a rare occasion where it happens.
I will say this, though. It is very conducive to really good interviews because, I think the space allows them to sort of free up. And like James Storm, yeah, he flubbed a little bit, but
doesn't matter though.
It didn't. It did not take away from anything.
No,
it just came off as a guy who was naturally speaking his mind
and upset
because I kind of think he was.
Because the idea is this is right after his match where he lost the national title to Colt Cabana, and he says at first, "I want my rematch." He goes, "No, I don't want a rematch." Takes a beat to collect himself and says, "I got
bigger fish to fry."
It took him a little while to get that out, and he says he's coming after Nick Aldous.
Yeah.
For the world heavyweight title.
Yeah, which was good stuff. It was manic. It was energetic.
All over the place, and it felt like not only did he have to collect himself to figure out what he wanted to say, but also collect himself in an emotional sense because he was getting too upset.
I'm being corrected a little bit here in chat. Gordito means a little fatty, which is even funnier.
Yeah, it is.
Gordo means fat, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Next, Colt Cabana stepped up to the interview desk. This is really good. He's getting the crowd behind him.
Yeah, again, like these guys, they've brought these people in who just naturally know how to play to a crowd.
I know.
And you've been in the business as long as Colt Cabana or James Storm or Kingston. They know how to do that.
This next bit was great. So we talked about being a fighting champion, so on and so forth. And then Ricky Starks wanders in, and Colt starts laughing. It's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, because Ricky Starks comes in. He sort of, if I'm not mistaken, he like crosses the camera.
And the circle's behind Colt.
Circles back around, and Colt's trying to like keep his stuff together. And he's like, "Ricky, what are you doing out here?"
And Ricky Starks says, "Alligator leather is my pleasure, but I'm sold on gold."
I'm sold on gold.
And walks away.
If you haven't by now gone to Ricky Starks' Twitter account to follow him, check out the filmed promo that he has pinned to his Twitter account.
It's so good.
It is one of the nicest, most Kubrickian bits of filmmaking.
It's really good.
I have ever seen in wrestling promos.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really well done.
It's like shockingly well done.
It's really good.
Yeah. So that sold me on Ricky Starks. Like when I first saw him with Sandown and stuff, I thought he was great. But then I went to go look him up a little bit.
I'm like, good.
I'm Stroke Daddy.
It's so good.
Yeah, really is. So, anyways, he's going to be challenging for that national title.
That'll be good stuff.
Soon.
Next, Dan Parker versus the question mark.
The question mark. It's totally just
Josephus.
It's just Josephus.
It's Josephus.
Nothing that he's got the most charismatic eyes where you can see he's so in on the joke.
Yeah.
But he's so invested in what he's doing. And the question mark wears a mask, and you can see those eyes.
You can see the facial hair. It's Josephus.
It's hilarious. It is so good, and the crowd was eating it up.
Yeah. It came into play later, too. Question mark wins after like a 2-finger, like...
Yeah.
You know what that is.
Yeah.
To the throat.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Next, Eli Drake tried to do an interview talking about Camille. Like one of the through lines of this episode is, when will Camille finally talk?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's been kind of one of the through lines of the entire show thus far.
Yeah.
And Eli's more or less said, the only name on her mind that will be on her tongue, I guess, that she will say is the next NWA champion. The crowd starts chanting, question mark.
Question mark. And he says, no, I'm going to give you guys an exclamation point.
Yeah, that was good.
Eli Drake. And
that
even he was about to laugh.
I know. That was great.
The crowd, I will say this. At this point, that crowd is kind of like the new Full Sail.
It is.
They are so much a character involved in the action. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's terrific.
Wild cards wander in, and they just tell Eli Drake to mind his own business. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. I don't know what Bram's problem is.
And then Ken Anderson rolls up behind Eli Drake, startles him, and then says, here's a name that you should have in your mind. Anderson. You don't have to say it 3 times to the mirror.
Yeah.
Anderson.
So his gimmick is like Bloody Mary or Candyman, I guess.
Yeah. Anderson. That was it. Just tell everybody he's having a good time.
Yeah, I know. That's what it is.
Next, Billy Corgan doing a promo from a hotel room, pitching the NWA email list on us all.
I signed up, man.
He got you.
I want the info.
He got you.
Because you can't get the info before anybody else if you're not on the email list.
He got you, man.
And he said, we're having quite a laugh hearing people talk about this being sort of the final phase of our product. He says, we're just getting started. We've got some big news coming up, some changes, some things that we have planned. I want to know. I want to be the first person to know. I want to know.
Well, you won't be you'll be amongst the first.
Amongst the first to know.
But you won't be the first.
Well, if I read my email before anybody else does,
I know how you are with your email. You don't read it immediately.
Speak for yourself. You are never at your phone, man.
That's not true.
Whenever I text you, I have to wait 5 hours to get a response.
That's not true. You texted me the other night when I was making dinner for the family, and it was about 10 minutes later that I went and checked.
I have my phone on me when I'm making dinner for the family, too. You act like you're the only person here. I make dinner for my family, too. I always have my phone on me.
I plugged my phone into charge while I was making dinner. Sometimes I'd step away from the phone so I can concentrate.
No good. You should always be feasting your eyes.
I'm not going to be there at your beck and call 24/7. 24/7.
All the time.
Not possible.
You need to sign up for my mailing list.
Definitely not going to do that. Even if you get Billy Corgan to pitch it, I won't do it.
Really? From a hotel room?
No. Next, Tony Falk's wrestling farm video. This is pretty funny.
So apparently he's cloning and growing baby faces and heel wrestlers. For $15,000, you can get a human being from Tony Falk's wrestling farm. Yeah, but then all he had in the video were, he had like animals, but also he had 3D graphics of like hoss wrestlers and trim wrestlers.
Yeah.
But with like no heads.
Yeah. Like it was funny, but if you really think about it, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah, this is like sort of going into Cronenberg territory.
Yeah, it is.
At this point. It's a little weird.
Presentation was funny, but you dig below the surface a little bit, it's messed up. It's pretty messed up, actually.
Stevie Bradley here in chat says, I know you have lost at least one viewer because you two are on your phones too much. Well, we are who we are. That's just
most of the time I have my phone right next to me. And that one time that you needed something right away.
It's been like 3 times now. Like, hey, can you do this for me? And then nothing.
Oh, and you have to wait like 2 minutes.
Oh, no, it's like hours.
It's never hours. I'm never away from my phone for hours unless I'm sleeping.
Nick Aldous interview. I feel like Nick Aldous is the normal guy who's the glue for all the chaos and I love it.
Well, that's kind of what he said here.
Yeah.
He says he does things the right way, and that's how he got that title.
So then he was going to then sit at ringside
To
for
make
that
sure,
tag match.
He said anybody who's
not even his division.
Anybody who thinks they deserve to be a champion has to prove to him. Well, I mean, he's the heavyweight champion. He's top dog.
He's the gold standard.
They have to prove to him.
Yeah.
He's like the principal.
Yeah, that's what he is. The principal.
You're deserving of the title because you do things the right way. He's pretty much saying nobody's going to cheat.
Yeah.
It would have been great if he had cheated to help somebody win.
Yeah. We got like 2 of those commercials for NWA in Retromania Wrestling.
We're going retro.
Hey, you can do that, buddy. I feel like he says buddy in his real life.
I think so.
Hey, buddy.
I think so. Main event, Outlaw Inc. That's Eddie Kingston and Homicide taking on the Wild Cards. Brawl breaks out immediately. It's Royce Isaacs, and Homicide to start. Wild Cards get in control. All right. There's an issue. Well, I got several issues with Jim Cornette. Him going on about how there's only real men in NWA wrestling.
Yeah.
I know it's a slight to probably more directly AEW.
Oh, yeah.
It's unnecessary.
Oh, I don't know, man.
And but here's the thing. He's like, they're all grown men. Look at Brahm or Latimer. He's 6'2" or something like that. Everybody in there is pretty much he's saying is everybody in that ring is tall and jacked, like they were, or at least thick, like they were in back in the day.
Yeah.
Dude, Homicide's like 5'8". All right.
Yeah, but hey, he carries himself like he said.
No, yeah, this is not a slight of Homicide, but
Yeah.
don't try to say that. I mean, because he used the term you're not supposed to say for little people. He said that.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Yes.
that. Oh, okay.
He said there's none of here.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
dude,
Yeah, that's kind of lame, huh?
that's lame.
That's kind of lame. But I get he's trying to tell that. So, like, that's the main. Even Aldous in his interview had sort of mentioned that's the thing about NWA is that's where men are men and men have to fight like men. And
Yeah.
so he's towing the company line, and yeah, he does in his way.
like when Aldous says it, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I know when Cornette says it, there's an agenda there.
Yeah, but I have been able to. Number one, I stopped. I think I even muted him. Stopped following and tuning into.
Oh, I don't pay attention
Cornette.
to anything. I don't pay attention to anything.
And so
he said,
I honestly, at this point, I'm just speaking for myself. At this point, I have been able to appreciate and watch Power and appreciate and listen to Cornette and not even think about that.
I have for the most part. There's times where he'll say something stupid, and so it recalls all the other stupid crap he says.
Yeah.
And this is one of those instances where he'll say stuff that I understand, like on surface levels, towing company line, but he's taking jabs.
Yeah.
And I don't want that.
Yeah.
I like NWA Power feeling like an isolated thing, like a time capsule from the 80s. And I don't want Cornette there taking his jabs at AEW or independent wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. Jeff Bruger here in chat said, Steve's pitched Billy Corgan's pitch so good that I caved in and signed up to the NWA email list. Look, man, all I got to go is go to National Wrestling Alliance.
Who said that? Who said that?
Jeff Bruger.
He'll check his email before you do.
Well, I don't know, if it happens during a podcast, that's going to be difficult. I usually don't check my emails during podcasts. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I got reprimanded almost by Luke on Wrestle Talk.
Oh, wow.
Because right before, right as we were going to go on air, or I think right as we went on air, I because I do this habitually. I just check my phone real quick.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, did you just check your phone? Got to put it on airplane mode." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was the thing. I didn't know you could do that because we're sitting here like checking our own shoe deals. Okay, cool.
I know." Anyways, back to the match. I got that out of my system.
No, that's good.
Eventually, Kingston's in. He's getting worked over by the Wild Cards. He eventually gets a hot tag to Homicide. Homicide clears the ring, but it's short-lived. Brawling back and forth. Towards the end, Kingston tries to suplex Latimer. His knee gives out. Latimer kind of works it over a little bit. Homicide comes in to kind of peel Latimer off Kingston's leg. They're all doing moves to each other. Everybody's laid out. And then Homicide goes for a tornado DDT. Wild Cards end up dumping him to the floor in front of Aldous. And then Isaacs pins Kingston. I think they said the move was called Hush Money.
That's what it was called, which is a great name.
It is a good name.
Yeah.
It's like he starts the full Nelson, pops him up into a German suplex. Now your phone's ringing.
No, Tim, not going to answer it.
Oh, my gosh. So Wild Cards retain. Camille come out she starts getting into a little bit of a discussion.
Yeah, why was she getting into it with Aldous? She was pointing at somebody.
Well, he clotheslined her a couple weeks ago.
Well, yeah, but that was a couple weeks ago. She was pointing at somebody like.
Well, then at that point, like maybe that was a cue for everybody else to come out there.
Yeah, because everybody else.
James Storm comes out. Eli Drake does. Then Ken Anderson does, and then so the Dawsons, and then Colt Cabana comes out there. Everybody's out there.
It just sort of looked like sometimes when what is it? The British MPs, like the House of Lords, I think, is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't know.
How they just start like.
Is it the House of Commons or the House of Lords?
I forget which one it is. I think the House of Commons maybe. That's what it is. I don't know. They start milling about and like yelling at each other and stuff. And that's what this was. It just felt like there was just a lot of walking around. It was a lot of milling about, pointing and yelling over each other.
Yeah.
But there was not, it wasn't even, nobody was heatedly yelling. It was like everybody was just pleading their case loudly, but not really forcefully.
Yeah, exactly.
It was utter confusion.
See, I would think it might be the opposite because I really hear a whole lot of yelling. So everybody's pleading their case forcefully, but not loudly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because all we heard was Dawkins.
Yeah.
Into the fight, and I was like,
and like Eli Drake looked pretty calm.
Yeah, he did. He was like thinking, okay, how can I manipulate this situation?
Exactly.
No, I thought it was awesome. It was an NWA type brawl to end a show.
Yeah.
How everything is very civilized. I thought it'd been great. So I think they still did more episodes in that taping, or was there another day?
I don't know.
Because I know there was more stuff that has happened.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I wonder if this was like the end of the first day of taping. Maybe
that's a lot. 6 episodes in one day is a lot.
Yeah, but the matches are so short. But you're right, that is a lot.
That's 6 hours of tapings plus. I mean, that's a lot for the crowd to sit through to maintain that level of energy. But I don't know.
No, I mean, no, it's a good point. Maybe it was day 2. My point is the end felt like it had some sort of
finality to it. Yeah.
A little bit. You know.
Yeah. No, I get that. I got that too.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the end of the first script.
Maybe.
You know, that could be.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyways, I thought it was freaking awesome,
fun show.
Man. I thought it was great. Anyways, you saw The Mandalorian last night. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a bonus episode.
Yeah, we can do that.
Talk about it?
Sure.
Okay. So, bonus episode today. We're going to go live in about, 15, 20 minutes or so. Right? We're going to eat lunch and then we'll do it.
Sounds fair.
Okay. So we're going to do our review for The Mandalorian. So if you want in on that, $5 on the Patreon or YouTube channel members. If you're already that, and we're going to probably talk about spoilers. So don't watch the episode if you don't want that. If you've seen Mandalorian, check it out. So yeah, thanks for watching. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.